Out of the way, Carlos Sainz. Ferrari has finally crowned their champion. Charles Leclerc has agreed to a contract that ties him down until the end of the decade. And although Leclerc has been vocal about securing a renewal of his Ferrari Formula 1 contract, the duration of his new agreement comes as a big surprise. Leclerc stands out as one of the top talents in Formula 1, proving to be one of Ferrari's greatest assets, a true franchise driver frequently discussed in today's racing landscape. Similar to the lengthy contracts securing talents like Max Verstappen and Lando Norris, it's easy to see why Ferrari aims for a renewed multi-year commitment from Leclerc. Committing to a new 5-year deal is a big step for Leclerc, considering his existing contract was announced in December 2019 and extended until the end of 2024. While Ferrari holds a special place, and there's a unique appeal to being part of the team, in terms of competitiveness, it's just one of several teams aspiring to challenge for titles, and currently trailing behind Red Bull. The truth is that Ferrari relies on Leclerc more than he relies on Ferrari. Sooner or later, he could easily demand a move to nearly any other team with comparable competitive prospects. That being said, it doesn't take a genius to figure out why the Monegasque agreed to stay with the team until 2029. Leclerc has a deep admiration for Ferrari, and the feeling is reciprocated by the team and fans, especially in Italy. Winning a title with Ferrari is a dream he cherishes. Even the prospect of contending for one at the moment would be satisfying. Loyalty plays a huge role too. He has expressed gratitude for Ferrari's belief in him, not just in bringing him into F1 with Sauber in 2018, but swiftly elevating him to the top tier after just 1 year. Ferrari not only made Leclerc an F1 driver, but also an F1 race winner, and that's something he hasn't forgotten. Leclerc is aware that the sentiment can be a vulnerability. He recognizes that there might be a point where he has to prioritize his own interests. As he mentioned in an interview with the race earlier this year, the moment he loses faith in Ferrari's project is when he will consider the need to explore opportunities elsewhere. That moment hasn't arrived yet. Leclerc holds great respect for Fred Vasseur, who assumed leadership at Ferrari at the beginning of 2023. He is fully on board with the Frenchman's vision for the team. This alignment has been somewhat confirmed by Ferrari's response to a tough season, where under Vasseur's guidance, they not only improved a flawed car, but tailored it more to Leclerc's preferences. This adjustment unlocked an impressive run of form towards the end of the season. It's safe to say that Leclerc's belief in Ferrari has likely grown over the past 12 months. His relationship with Fred Vasseur, in contrast to his predecessor Mattia Binotto, seems to have improved by a lot. The shift in dynamics must have positively influenced Ferrari's chances of retaining Leclerc for the long term. Vasseur's arrival, coupled with Ferrari's trajectory in 2023 and Leclerc's genuine affection for the team, forms a compelling combination. Renewing the contract makes complete sense from a logical standpoint. However, committing until 2029 takes it beyond a simple display of faith to a risk, potentially using up some of Leclerc's prime years in the process. Even with the assumption of a break clause, La Gazzetta dello Sport suggests a performance-based one might come into play from the third season of the new deal, around 2027. Leclerc is essentially counting on Ferrari to reciprocate his faith and loyalty early in the new regulatory era. While it's a possibility, it's far from guaranteed. After all, Ferrari's track record in F1 has seen them underdeliver since the time when Leclerc was just establishing a serious reputation in karting. If Leclerc is depending on technicalities to free himself from an underwhelming Ferrari 4 years down the line, it suggests a substantial misstep. The potential regret could be considerable, especially considering that Leclerc has already ruled out positioning himself as an immediate successor to Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes, or stepping into the Aston Martin Honda Works project when Fernando Alonso decides to retire. It's hard to predict what opportunities might arise for Leclerc by then. Whether he'll have a genuine chance to part ways with Ferrari before 2029 is uncertain. In all fairness, these considerations may not even be relevant by that time if Ferrari indeed manages to turn things around. The future holds many uncertainties, and the dynamics of the racing world can change in unexpected ways. Leclerc has undoubtedly made a substantial commitment, driven by his deep admiration for Ferrari, a belief in its project, and an understanding that there might not be an immediately better option. In such a scenario, signing a lucrative long-term deal with a potential escape route in case things take an unfavorable turn seems like a reasonable approach. It offers a balance between loyalty and pragmatism, acknowledging the uncertainties that come with the fast-paced world of Formula 1. There's certainly a level of risk involved, But the spotlight has shifted. It's now less about Leclerc justifying his rationale and more about Ferrari proving the wisdom of his decision. They've secured a remarkable driver precisely when his faith could have been seriously tested. For the benefit of the team, Leclerc, and the exciting prospect of an F1 championship showdown involving this driver and team, Ferrari needs to capitalize on this opportunity. It is now on them to make the most of this commitment. While Leclerc's future with Ferrari seems promising, there are reports suggesting that a breakthrough is required for Carlos Sainz's future to share the same outlook. Despite being the only non-Red Bull driver to secure a Grand Prix victory in F1 2023 with his triumph in Singapore, Ferrari appears to be uncertain about Sainz when considering the long-term perspective. In June, Carlos made it clear that he wasn't going to linger, waiting for Ferrari to present him with a new contract. He said, "I'm not going to lie. I don't like going into my last year of a contract without really knowing where I'm racing the next year. I went through that process both with Red Bull and Renault, and I know it's not ideal as an athlete and as a driver. It's just not the right thing, and that's why I have put this winter as a reference to try and figure out my future." Sainz had been associated with the new Audi project slated to join the F1 grid in 2026, but he dismissed these rumors, affirming his loyalty to Ferrari. "My priority, and my main goal, is to win one day with Ferrari, and I think I've made that clear, very, very often, and that's why I will give my priority to them this winter." With 2 Formula 1 wins and 18 podium finishes, Sainz asserted that he wouldn't be pushed around by his Italian team and set a deadline for contract negotiations, saying, "If not, it will also be time to look elsewhere, but that's my priority and what I want to sort out in the winter." The Spanish driver is seeking a contract extension beyond 2024, covering an additional 2 years until the conclusion of the 2026 season, coinciding with the next significant rule change in F1. However, La Gazzetta alleges that this is a point of contention for Ferrari, as they are inclined to commit for only an additional 2 seasons, concluding at the end of 2025. It seems that Ferrari is keeping a close watch on Lando Norris, who despite completing his 5th year in Formula 1, is yet to secure a race victory. With Norris set to become a free agent in 2 years, Ferrari appears to be considering him as a potential future addition to rejuvenate their lineup, which is poised to be retained for a 5th straight season. Signs or no signs, Ferrari boss Fred Vasseur is optimistic about the team's future, believing that there's light at the end of the tunnel. He is confident that by exerting more pressure on Red Bull and Verstappen, they can capitalize on potential mistakes from their competitors. He said, "There is no doubt about the fact that he was dominating all the season, and the only issue for us is that, as everybody, he will do more mistakes when he will be under pressure. But nobody was able to put him under pressure this season, except us at the last 2 or 3 events, or except Carlos in Singapore. And it's where he started to do some mistakes, or perhaps Red Bull did some mistakes in terms of setup. We were too far away to put this kind of pressure on them." Did Ferrari choose the right driver to build around, or are they better off putting their future in someone who actually won a race this year? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell for the hottest F1 news.